Yo, yo, what's going on, party people? Welcome to a brand new week and welcome to a brand new edition of what we like to call the Shifting the Culture podcast, where we talk about the different artists, different events, different controversies, and everything in between that center around this world we know and love as hippity hip hop. I am your host, the vegan you believe in, Conscious Kurt, aka the professor in the flesh, as always.
And this is King Khan, aka the Evil Genius, live and direct once again. What's going on, man? How you feeling?
Feeling pretty good, bro. I just did some cardio this morning. Also went outside for a walk, enjoying this nice weather we're having out here today. Kind of in a interesting space in my life right now. It has its pluses and minuses, but with all of that aside, I am feeling very good today. Very, very good today.
All right, that's what's up. Yeah, so what you been up to, man? You checked out that Bad Boys movie this weekend?
Bad Boys 4, I did not get the chance to see it yet. I heard it was good for the most part, but I did hear that it's not as good as the last one, which I personally enjoyed. Bad Boys for Life, I personally thought was pretty good. But as far as the fourth one goes, I will go see it probably sometime this week.
Yeah, I didn't even actually see the third one. Honestly, I tried to see it, but for some
Flipping.
reason or another, I didn't see it. I'm gonna definitely check it out. And then
Eh,
hopefully check out this new one and see what it's about. I don't know, man. Martin looks kind of like, I don't know, man. He looks kind of different to me.
Yeah, people have been saying that, but he said that he's fine. Yeah, he said like in a response that he's good, that don't not to worry about him. I remember he was having those health problems a few years ago. I think I remember one year he was like training for a movie or like getting in shape for one, and like he passed out because of the sun, and he had to like go to the hospital.
Yeah, I know he had a stroke a few years back, so I could tell like it's taking a toll on him. Like I don't know, he looks like he doesn't look the same to me. I know he's older and whatnot, and then he had the stroke, but yeah, he just looks a little different to me. Looks like he doesn't look the same.
I mean, yeah, it could be anything. I mean, I personally hope he's okay, but I do want to go check this movie out. I did hear it was at least funny. I want to see what they can still bring to the table even at this stage. Because, bro, next year is going to be the 30-year anniversary of the first one.
Damn,
Fucking
that's
A.
nuts. And then I see Will Smith is trying to get back in good graces after the whole Chris Rock fiasco that happened a couple years ago. I guess he's trying to
Redeem himself.
remake himself. Yeah, and do some nice shit. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and it's crazy. I was looking at the list of like all the Will Smith movies that like made over $100 million, and it's ridiculous, bro. The amount of movies that he did that like made that much money and that were that successful. Yo, his resume is top notch. There's like very few people who could even match it straight up.
Yeah, he definitely at one point I think he was like one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood. So yeah, he was definitely making some blockbuster movies like Independence Day, Men in Black. Like he was,
Bad
I
Boys.
Am Legend, all those big movies, Bad Boys. Like so he was definitely doing his thing. It's just that he to kind of like took a break for a few years. I'm sure take care of his family and whatnot. But yeah, it looks like he's coming back over the last couple of years and he's trying to be more relevant.
Yeah, and you have to put him in that category as one of the most successful sitcom stars who transitioned into being a movie star.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the
Actor turn. I mean, rapper turned actor
yeah
slash
rapper.
movie star.
Yeah, rapper turned actor, and also someone who went from being a sitcom star to being a movie star. He's definitely like in the top of
Yeah,
that
he definitely has a great career, yo. Accomplished a lot.
incredible career. And yo, that Chris Rock situation from a few years ago, it was just a mistake. I don't think it's something you need to crucify the dude over for the rest of his life. It was just an error in judgment, and it's not something we should all be dwelling on like that.
People have done worse and came back from worse things that happened in the public. So, it's been a while now. Hopefully they squash whatever it is and they could move on. But people, everybody makes mistakes. Just gotta learn from it and keep it moving.
I just loved how Chris clapped back at him and Jada on his stand-up special last year. Yo, that shit was gold.
Yeah, he did his Chris Rock did his thing.
Yeah, but one thing I will say about the Bad Boys franchise, the one Bad Boys movie I did not like, and I stand by this, is Bad Boys 2.
So yeah, I thought that was all right. There was a lot of action in that one.
It was just too over the top for one, and it was too fucking long for two.
Yeah, I give you that. Yeah, but I think they were just trying to make it like a because the first one did good. So they were just trying to make like the second one like this blockbuster film. But yeah, I kind of felt like they did try a little bit too hard, but I felt it was still good though.
Yeah, probably the funniest part in the whole movie is that part when like Martin Lawrence's daughter's gonna go out on a date with this kid, and then he opens the door, and then him and Will just like fuck with him and like just try to scare the shit out of him. Yo, that shit was mad funny.
Yeah, yeah, that part was
And I
funny.
heard they all did that off script. That shit was not even written.
Yeah, yeah, I heard about that too. So yeah, it was a dope scene.
Yeah, I'll go check out Bad Boys 4 this week as soon as I get a chance. Yeah, it's so crazy. Like when the first Bad Boys came out, they were both still in their sitcoms. Like, Will was still doing Fresh Prince, and then Martin was still doing Martin. And yeah, just from that movie on, especially in Will Smith's case, it was clear that they were going to do big things.
Yeah, definitely launched their movie careers from there.
Yeah, especially Will. Like after that, it was pretty much a wrap for Fresh Prince. Yeah, I think after Bad Boys came out, there was only one more season of Fresh Prince, and then there was a wrap.
Yeah, and just movies after that.
Yeah, and these NBA finals are looking pretty whack right now, at least from what we saw in game one. Yeah, I haven't been interested in basketball in 3 weeks.
Well, I felt like it was just one game. I felt like hopefully Dallas plays better tonight, and I felt like they had that week off, a long time between games, and they were like in the rhythm, and then the whole Porzingis thing. So the crowd was going crazy. So a lot of different factors. I expect Dallas to play a lot better tonight, and we'll see. But if we see like another happening like what happened in game one, then it might not be a long series.
You know what's funny? You know what's so crazy? People are talking more about the WNBA right now than the NBA.
Yeah, because
This
of
shit is
the Caitlin
unheard of.
Clark and Angel Reese and all that stuff that's going on. I know they just announced like the Olympic team last night, and I know some people
And
were
she got
upset.
snubbed from it.
I wouldn't say it's snub. Like she's not. I don't know if I know some people don't watch women's basketball. All those people on that list are way better than her. Caitlin Clark, she's not on that level yet. She has to put in. Yeah, she's the greatest, like probably the greatest college basketball player. But when it comes to the WNBA, like WNBA, the women that have been going overseas and winning these gold medals, like they've been doing this shit since like the '90s, having stacked teams, and I don't even think anybody's really giving them competition. So like she'll have her time. I would say like the next Olympics she'll definitely make it, but this time, if you look at the roster is pretty stacked, and I don't feel like she's better than anybody on that list as of right now. She will eventually, but as of right now, all those other women deserve to be on that team. That's just how I see it. But I do, from the other aspect of it, I do see how, they can say it's a missed opportunity because she's popular, and putting on her team, would help expand the game and bring it to like a whole nother level globally. But at the same time, you are sending like a bad message, like to the other women on the team who actually deserve to be there right now. So you gotta like kind of like balance that.
Yeah, it's crazy how many people have been talking about her like this last week or so, especially. And people are mad divisive about it too, saying how they hate, saying how like she deserves to get fucked with by the other players, like she's been getting fucked with, or that she's getting criticized too much, or people like are just in general paying too much attention to her. I don't know enough about the situation to be honest with you to really comment on it, but it's just crazy how much attention the WNBA is getting right now. Like I've never even seen this happen for them before. In the 27 years now that the WNBA has been around, yeah, I don't think they've ever been getting as much attention as they are right now.
Yeah,
So I
definitely.
fucks with that aspect of it.
Yeah, definitely glad to see them grow. I remember I think we might have went to like the first season WNBA was in like when it started. I think we went to a Liberty game at MSG back in the day.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did.
that was like the first season, right?
Yeah, it was the first season of the WNBA was, and I was like all the way up in like the section 400s,
Yeah,
way
yeah,
up
it
top.
was. Yeah, that was early times of the WNBA. I remember that's when Cheryl Swoops, Cynthia Cooper, all those girls were still
Lisa
balling.
Leslie.
Yeah, Lisa Leslie was still there. So yeah, WNBA has come a long way, and especially over the last few years, I feel like the play has gotten a lot better, and like the influx of this rookie class is definitely going to help bring WNBA to a whole nother level. So it's good to see, man. Good to see that woman, get some respect, and it's been fun to watch. It's not like how it used to be in the past. Like sometimes it's unwatchable, but it's definitely the women are fun to watch, and the games are competitive, and it's good basketball. So yeah, you can't be mad at what the women are doing lately.
Yeah, doing big things in the WNBA and also doing big things in hip hop, which brings us into our first topic today. As Billboard released a list of the top 10 hottest female rappers out right now, and here is how the list was broken down. Number 10, Flo Milli. Number 9, JT. Number 8, Lotto. Number 7, Cardi B. That kind of surprised me actually,
Yeah, I
but
thought
is
she would
what
be a
it
little bit
is.
higher than that.
Glorilla, number 6. Ice Spice at number 5, and I just saw the cover of her debut album the other day that they posted up. That was
Yeah.
interesting. Number 4, Doja Cat. Number 3, Megan Thee Stallion.
Okay.
Number 2, Sexy Red. And number 1, Nicki Minaj. No surprise.
Yeah, there's a couple. I feel like somebody's missing on this list, and I feel like some people could be moved up. Like I feel like Lotto and Cardi B definitely should be high up there. I feel like Ice Spice should be dropped
Lower.
off of this list just because of the debacle that she did by disrespecting Sean Paul's "Give Me the Light." I don't know if you heard that song, but that was like the wackest.
I don't listen to no Ice Spice, bro. Of course I didn't hear it.
Nah, that shit was horrible. Like I don't even know why Sean Paul even like cleared that shit. That shit was bad. But yeah, definitely, I feel like the Ice Spice trend is starting to wind down. I feel like all she could really do is twerk and do that. Like it's just her music is like is just trash. Like lately, the last couple songs, the fart song and then the Give Me the Light are
Oh
have been
shit.
really horrible. So I don't feel like she should be on this list.
To be honest, I'll tell you the truth. Sexy Red to me isn't that much better.
At least Sexy Red has catchy songs, and at least she's. I would say Sexy Red is way more relevant than Ice Spice right now.
Oh yeah, relevancy. I'll give you that. Yeah, she's definitely popular. She was even on WWE a couple weeks ago, and she's gonna be on their NXT show tonight. But as far as her music and her whole vibe, I'm not a fan.
Yeah, you don't have to be a fan, but as far as like being honest and who the hottest female rapper is, Sexy Red is definitely in the top three. You gotta give her that.
Yeah, that's fair.
She's
That's fair.
definitely influencing the culture, making a lot of noise. Her songs are catchy. They're all over the radio and they're playing in the club. So you definitely got to give her props. I feel like Lotto should have been higher. I feel like Lotto has been consistent over the last few years, and I feel like she should have been a little bit higher. And Cardi B, I know she hasn't really dropped any albums, but I feel like like the singles that she does get on, she does destroy like her verse. So she could I think she could be like maybe in the top five. But do you think anybody's missing off the list? I think there's somebody that's missing that should be on here. But you can go ahead and if there's anybody else that you think.
I wouldn't say missing per se. I would just say I would switch the orders. Like for one, I would switch Doja Cat with Sexy Red. I put Doja Cat at number 2 and then Sexy Red at number 4. I would switch Cardi B with Ice Spice. I would at least put Cardi B at number 5. And
Yeah.
besides that, I think it's pretty accurate. Nicki Minaj definitely deserves to be number 1. I have no argument with that at all.
Yeah, she got the tour going on, the album. You got a big single. I think Glorilla should be up a little bit higher too. She's been making some noise lately.
And Megan Thee Stallion definitely deserves to be at number 3. She's been killing it lately too. You don't sell out Madison Square Garden by accident.
No, no, she definitely one of the better female artists. But I feel like there's somebody that's definitely missing on this list, and it's she dropped an album recently, Rap City. I don't know if you heard her new album, Please Don't Cry. It's a pretty dope project that she put together. It dropped maybe like a couple weeks ago, and she's not talking about twerking and pussy and all this. She's talking about some real life shit that you can really connect to, and she actually remade that Monica, Just One of Those Days.
Oh, dope.
Remember that song?
Of course I
Don't Take
remember
It
it.
Personal. She kind of redid it, but like in a modern style, and kind of like connected it to her life and what she's going through. And it's called like Do Not Disturb. It's a dope track, and I like how she flipped the concept of the Don't Take It Personal by Monica. So definitely a dope album. If you haven't checked it out, you're definitely sleeping on her. She got a lot of good joints on that album. So definitely check her out, give show her some support, because we need more female artists just like her that are rapping and doing their thing.
Exactly. Like, yo, the whole ratchet shit and the whole twerking shit, if you have a few female rappers doing that shit, it's cool. But when all of them are doing that and pretty much all of them are clones of each other, yo, that is not a good look. And that's not good for the industry in general. The industry in music, it needs diversity. It can't just be all of one of the same thing.
Yeah, back in the day, there were we had like we had Lil Kim and Foxy Brown, but they would be like that to a certain extent, but that wouldn't be like their whole gimmick. Like they still could rap and they still can make good music and good songs. So
Exactly.
I feel like a lot of the women, I feel like a lot of women today, they lean on their body and the sexuality more than anything. Like the music and like at least back then, yeah, they were doing that sexy stuff, but the music was way better and it was there was a balance. But now it's like 80-20. It's 80% looks and twerking and whatnot, and 20% talent and making songs. When it shouldn't be like that, it should be more of a balance. Anything it should be 80-20 the other way around. It should be 80% talent and 20% all the extracurriculars. So just a different time, and I feel like women they shouldn't have to degrade themselves and put themselves down like that just to to be
Make fools
popular.
and
I
make
feel like
fools of
let the
themselves.
music speak for itself.
And make fools of themselves in most cases too, because it's not even just the music that I'm not feeling with a lot of these girls, it's their behavior and their whole vibe. They just come off very obnoxious, in some cases really ignorant. And yeah, like if there's anything that turns me off from them, it's also that shit.
Yeah, like what kind of message are you sending to like the younger females that are looking up to you, going to your concerts and trying to emulate you? Like it's not a good look. We don't need another generation of women trying to get BBLs and twerking and interested in guys just because of their money. Like just sending a bad message, and we don't need that type of
Energy.
message sent to to the children. So definitely, we need more rap cities and less ice spices.
Yeah, I support that message 100%. But as far as Nicki Minaj being a number one, like I said before, no argument for me. She's killing it on that tour. Her Pink Friday 2 album was also dope. She's had one of the most consistent runs probably in the history of hip hop for females, period. So, yeah, definitely give her those flowers for being number one.
Yeah, she definitely deserves it. No argument from me.
No, not at all. But let's move on to our next subject. As Chuck D from Public Enemy was very vocal recently about rappers in their 40s promoting toxic bullshit and toxic lifestyles. And in a tweet from the other day, this is exactly what he had to say. If you are over 40 and spitting meaningless, dark energy in rap, you need to reconsider the hip hop foundation that gave you this platform. And he also went on to say further on, I didn't say cease and desist. I said think. A mind over 40 should have a better ability to understand self and surroundings. The green days are graying.
Yeah, I agree. Like the older you get, you should evolve and you should, talk about different topics, and you shouldn't be stuck like in the same, mindset as you were when you're first coming into the game. I know when you're first coming out, you're hungry and you want to like kind of tell your story and let people know where you come from. But once you reach the mountaintop and you're successful and you made money, you know, and you made it out the hood, like you don't need to be talking about certain things anymore. You should be talking about things that's going to uplift your people from your community and show them a way out instead of showing them how to do the same bullshit and then relive the cycle. So I definitely is a strong message by Chuck D. He's always been somebody to try to uplift the community and our culture. So definitely a legend in his own right. But yeah, I agree with him. There's like people like who've been dropping albums like let's say Nas, how he's been on this King's Disease run and the Magic run that he did over the last few years. And a lot of material is a lot different from what he rapped about when he was younger, like when he was coming up during the Illmatic and It Was Written days and things like that. Like his subject matter, he's talking about investing, he's talking about businesses, he's talking about, just grown man stuff. Like he's not talking about killing people and murking people and this and that. So he just, talk about it from a different perspective. Even Jay-Z's 444 that was talking about like, different things, within family, talking about family members, being gay, talking about mental health, talking about, manhood, different topics. So it's good to see artists evolve and touch on different things and act more mature with the age because you got to understand kind of like how to go back with the female topic that we were talking about last. Like, you want to set a good example for the new generation to follow. And I feel like it's a responsibility for some of these elder hip hop artists like LL Cool J. I heard he's coming out with another album to set the right example for the next generation to come up, so we can keep pushing the culture forward and not going backwards with the toxic bullshit that's being promoted.
Yeah, it's one thing when you're promoting that toxic bullshit in your 20s, but when you're over 40, you're a grown adult and you have responsibilities. If you're still doing that shit and you're still promoting that shit, you really, really need to rethink your priorities. Because I think we talked about
Yeah.
this before, like I think with the Jim Jones situation, like when he got into the fight at the airport a few weeks ago. Like, bro, if you're still acting in your 40s the same way you acted in your 20s, yo, that's a huge slip up. That is a huge slip up where you basically
Well, that situation, not to cut you off, that situation, they found that it wasn't his fault. Like, those guys started it, and then he was just defending himself
Okay,
with
fair.
that situation.
Okay, fair enough. But
But I
we've
get
seen
what you're trying to
other.
say.
But okay, fair enough. But we've seen other instances of Jim Jones where, like, even though he's an older man, he kind of still acts like he's in his early 20s, still living in Harlem.
Yeah, I get that. He has that kind of vibe sometimes.
Yeah, just in general, we talked about a few minutes ago, like girls like Ice Spice and Sexy Red. Yeah, they're in their 20s, promoting the lifestyle they're doing now and making the music they're making now. But if it's like 20 years from now and they're still doing that same shit, I would look at them the exact same way.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like I said, you got to evolve, and yeah, they're in that part of their life where they're all about partying and having a good time, which is cool. But like, if you're older and if you're over 40, you should be, your concept and your topic should be a lot different compared to when you were 20. So it's just all about evolving and just becoming better and being more responsible about the message that you're sending to your fans and the people who are watching.
Yeah, because if you look at the world the same way at 40 years old that you did at 20 years old, you wasted 20 years of your life. And if sadly a
Yeah.
lot of these rappers are like still at that older age and they still can't like let go of that past life and they're still like wrapped up in it and they're still like acting immature and acting stupid even though they shouldn't be, then they deserve to be called out for it.
Yeah, man, we just got to keep pushing the culture forward, man. Keep talking about different things that we need to know, knowledge that we can use. That's the kind of music that we need to hear from, like these older hip hop artists. And I don't know if you heard. Did you hear about Lupe? He's working on a new album that should be dropping soon.
I did hear about that. Yes, I did.
Yeah, so Lupe is coming back out. I know Common and Pete Rock are working on another project as well. So there's a lot of good, music that's coming out from some of these older artists. So you just gotta, just have them on the radar and just be on the lookout for them, and definitely support them when they do drop. So, so that way we can get more music of like the contemporary hip hop artists like that are 40 and older. So that make that like that grown man music. So yeah, we definitely need more of that and more balance in the game.
Yeah, certain things you could still keep the same even as you get older. Certain things you don't really have to change, but there are other parts of you and other parts of the things you do where it's necessary for you to change. And Chuck D hit it right on the head with that. Always been very vocal about the rights and wrongs that go on in the music industry and hip hop and all that jazz. And also, he was very critical of the Kendrick and Drake beef. Also, he was very critical of that too.
Well, what do you say about that?
He was not a fan of it. He felt like, it was pushing hip hop backwards and that the two of them and J. Cole should have done a tour together to bring everybody together as opposed to this where they're keeping people divided.
Mm. I feel like battles are necessary. And I felt like this one was a necessary battle. As you can see, what's happened since. Like, oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait for this. You heard about this Kendrick concert that's happening on Juneteenth in Inglewood?
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yo, and he's gonna stream it. It's gonna be streaming on Amazon Prime as well on
Oh,
Juneteenth,
clutch.
and it's called Ken and Friends. So I think this is gonna be like the death of Drake. It's gonna be after this concert. I think it's gonna be a wrap for Drake. It's already not looking good for Drake, but after this concert happens, it's gonna be really ugly for him. You saw that like Kendrick popped back out this weekend. He did like a graduation speech at the Compton College.
Yeah, I saw that. I also saw that Drake removed all of his Kendrick disses off of Instagram.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that. I noticed that too. So we'll see. I don't know. I guess he's admitting that he's trying to move past it and move on. But yeah, man, I can't wait to see what happens at this concert, man. I think it's gonna be another monumental night in hip hop, and I feel like I can't wait to see Not Like Us getting performed and who he brings out, and the crowd going crazy. Like I cannot wait for this show, man.
Ooh,
I think it's gonna be a
now,
big night. I think it's gonna be a big night for hip hop.
now you got me excited for it.
Yeah, man. It said Kenny and Friends, and it's in L.A. Oh man, and it's on Juneteenth. There's a lot going on, man. And another thing with that
Oh, you know what would be great? You know what would be great is if he brought out Snoop and Snoop dished Drake for using the AI sample of his voice.
that could I noticed that Snoop is kind of like dancing around answering that question. I know he's had a couple of interviews where they asked him about the AI, and he kind of kept it like political, for the most part. But maybe he's waiting for this concert to pop out. So I don't know, man. It's gonna be interesting to see, man. I cannot wait to see what happens. And I was shocked when I saw that pop up on my timeline showing that he's gonna have a concert and it's gonna be streamed. So that means something major is gonna happen, yo. This is good. Like get your popcorn ready, yo. It's gonna be serious.
Yeah, it's about to be real, and the summer has only just begun.
Yes, sir.
And the latest findings of Diddy, it came out this past week that Diddy has now been stripped of his Howard University degree that he received in 2014. And also the $1 million he donated to them is also going to be rescinded. Because
Damn.
Howard University put out a statement saying they can't be associated with somebody like Diddy after the whole video came out of what he did to Cassie, how it doesn't, fall in line with their standards and with their morals and all that good stuff. So yeah, Diddy got stripped of that degree. He did go to Howard University for 2 years, but he never graduated. But they did give him an honorary degree a few years ago. But now he no longer has that shit, among other things he's losing.
Yeah, it makes sense. They got to protect their brand. Nobody wants to be associated with somebody who's physically abusing females and on camera and God knows whatever else that he's been doing behind the scenes. So yeah, it makes sense. They got to protect their brand, and at the end of the day, businesses are going to start pulling back if they haven't already. This is what happens. Like people start losing sponsorships. I saw when like the John Morant shit was going on like last year, a lot of companies started pulling back their sponsorships and deals with them. So it just makes sense when it comes to business. People don't want to be associated with somebody who's doing things and making themselves look bad and also the company look bad. So it's just really toxic right now, and everybody has to keep their distance, including businesses and colleges and universities. And I even heard like the city of New York was trying to take back the key to the city that they gave him a few years ago as well because of everything that's happening. So yeah, man, it's not a good look, man. So yeah, I don't see anything wrong with them, taking back, what they, the accomplishments that they gave him, especially with everything that's going on. It makes sense.
Yeah, honorary degree my ass. He's never graduated. So fuck it. Yeah, take it away.
Yeah, I don't understand the honorary degrees. Just because you're famous, you get a degree. I kind of feel like that's like a slap in the face to people who actually,
Like stuck with it and
attend
stay to the
college
end.
and study and yeah, and follow through. So it's kind of like a slap in the face to those type of people.
Yeah, not to mention he's also officially no longer a part of Revolt. His shares have officially been sold off, and he's officially done with them.
Yeah, yeah, man, that's crazy. He's the one who started it, and he's not even associated with them at all. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, just like Vince McMahon.
It's
Yeah,
just
him and
sad.
him and Vince McMahon are in the same boat.
Yeah, just a sound downfall in hip hop, man. It's sad to see, sad to watch.
Did you ever see that movie Get Him to the Greek that he was in with Jonah Hill and
Yeah, I remember that movie. Yeah, I saw it. It was funny.
yeah, I was watching that movie last night, and it's disturbing watching Diddy in that movie. Like now, knowing the stuff we know about him now, after everything that's come out, watching him in that movie is fucking uncomfortable in some parts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I remember, from what I remember, that movie was pretty funny. But yeah, it definitely made it painted Diddy in a certain way in that movie.
yeah, that's the one thing I wanted to say about that is that I remember before when I watched that movie the first time, I thought like the way they portrayed him in that movie was like an exaggerated version of who he really is. But after watching it last night, I can definitely say it was the watered down version of who he really is.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, fucking yeah, he was a fucking psycho in that movie, but I can imagine how much more of a psycho he really was in real life, and what the people who had to deal with him every day had to go through. Fuck me. Imagine like being his assistant
Yeah,
or like being one of the people who works in the offices or some shit.
yeah. I don't get it, man. Some people, they do anything for money, man. They'll still quiet. They'll get disrespected. They'll tolerate with a whole bunch of stuff just for money, man. It's crazy what some people will do.
Yeah, crazy what some people will do for money, and it's even crazier in many cases what some people will do with their influence, and what they'll use the money that they do have to make others do for them.
Right.
Some sick shit. But yeah, no sympathy for Diddy. He's getting what he deserves. And yeah, we also heard about that stuff that came out last week about how he kept like Biggie from being on the cover of Rolling Stone after Biggie died because the No Way Out album was about to come out. So he wanted that attention as opposed to Biggie getting it because Biggie was already dead. And I think Biggie's mom, Willetta Wallace, even said she wanted to slap the taste out of his mouth.
Yeah, man. It just makes you reconsider everything that happened over the years. Like maybe Diddy had something to do with Tupac. Maybe Diddy had something to do with Biggie. Maybe it has something to do with a lot of these other deaths that happen randomly in hip hop. So I don't know, man. It makes you just question a lot of things, man.
Yeah, definitely a disturbing dude, and definitely a dude I'm happy that is getting exposed. And I just hope more people like him who use that kind of power and kind of influence to do wrong by people get exposed and get blackballed and get X'd out for good. Yeah, that kind of energy, that kind of toxic bullshit needs to go and go for good. Good fucking riddance.
That's kind of look like what's happening now with the Dream situation. Also, Kanye getting hit with allegations. So it's not just Diddy. It looks like the industry, there's like a cleanse within the industry this year, that all this toxic behavior that was swept under the rug, over that people turn their cheek to over the years, like it's coming to light, and people getting exposed for the behavior behind the scenes.
Yeah, shit like that, especially if you've been doing it for years. Yeah, it's disgusting, it's disturbing, it's fucking wrong, and you deserve to be exposed and punished for it. And fucking crazy, yeah, Kanye's ex-assistant is suing him because apparently like she didn't get paid the money that he said he was gonna pay her, and also he was like sexually harassing her and like sending her like inappropriate text messages, and like what would be like supposed to be business calls, he would be masturbating during them. Yeah, the whole bunch of
Wow.
disturbing ass shit. Yeah, I even read this one text from like some of the conversations they had saying how like my dick isn't racist, some like weird ass shit like that.
Wild, yo. It's highly weird, man. Highly, all these people are weirdos. It what over the last few months, what this is showing me is like you can't really like be so infatuated with these celebrities and these artists and movie stars. Like they're just regular people, and a lot of the times these people are sickos, man. They're on some sick, weird shit. They like have weird fetishes and do some like weird. They're not really who they portray themselves to be. So you can love their art, but them as people, you got to know how to separate themselves from, because like a lot of these people are behind the scenes, man. They're not who you think they are, man. And I know people
Yeah,
used to say never meet um your heroes,
heroes.
because yeah, because you'll be surprised of how they really are.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's a laundry list of people we can break down about that. From yeah, Kanye, Michael Jordan, among other people. Yeah, a lot of these people like we grew up idolizing, grew up looking up to. As we got older, we started to see more and more of who they really were, and also who they really are today. And it's not something to be a fan of, especially bullshit like this. This is not some shit to be a fan of. And yes, you can still enjoy their art, you can still appreciate their art, but as far as them as people and defending shit like this when it comes out, you can't be doing all that bullshit. You can't.
Nah,
It's the same thing with the whole Trump thing. Like, no matter what comes out about Trump, no matter what negative ass bullshit comes out about Trump, his supporters still fucking ride with him. No matter how bad it makes him look, no matter how much the evidence proves that he's wrong, they still don't fucking care. And you can't be that way. No matter how much you're a fan of somebody, you cannot be that way. You are a fucking clown if you are that way.
Yeah, you can't be that biased to not see what's right and what's wrong. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, you can't be that biased and you can't be that much of an ass kisser or that much of a mark for them.
Yeah, it's wild. Wild.
Yeah, that Kanye one was really disturbing. Yeah, those text messages and the fact that like she was doing OnlyFans actually before she started working with him, and then he asked her to stop the OnlyFans because he said he was gonna pay her the same amount to like not do it anymore, and then apparently he still didn't pay her anyway. Bro, fuck out of here.
Yeah, man, I hope it's not true, but if it is true, man, it's not a good look, man, at all.
Yeah, it could be bullshit. It could be somebody just trying to get money out of him, but uh, you never know with these damn people.
Yeah, you never know now.
Yeah, Kanye already has other sketchy shit about him, so I don't want to say that I believe all of this completely, but I'm not saying that I deny that it happened either.
At the same time, Kanye has been saying a lot of crazy shit, but sometimes a lot of the crazy shit that he has been saying has been coming true.
Yeah, I don't dispute that, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it's just kind of like this
So
thing of where you don't really want to hear it from him.
I know I feel, but I just want to say that when everybody says somebody's crazy, I'm starting to listen to them. I'm not like I'm not overly dismissing them. Like everybody's saying, "Oh, Kanye's crazy. Kanye's crazy." I'm starting to listen to some of these people that they've been saying are crazy over the last few years because some of the stuff that they've been saying and talking about is coming true. So I can't like nowadays I can't dismiss anybody. Whenever somebody says something, I listen to it and then I don't pick a side either way or the other. I do my research and see if it's true or not and come to my conclusion. But like I'm starting to like believe some of these people that people everybody's saying are crazy or out of touch and
Yeah,
don't know what's going on. So
yeah, one person who's been kind of getting that attention lately has been Terrence Howard. I've heard like Terrence Howard's been like saying a lot of like off the wall shit lately, and people have been kind of labeling him as yeah like a
yeah,
as like crazy as a sicko, and kind of like yeah the similar way they would label Kanye. But also I've been hearing on the flip side that like some of the shit that he says actually makes sense. I think he was
yeah,
on
that too.
Joe.
So
I think he was on
Joe
Joe
Rogan,
Rogan
right?
recently. Yeah, yeah, Joe Rogan. That's another one. That's another one people always talk shit about.
Yeah, man. So like I said, man, you just got to look at it for what it is and I would say I just have an open mind and it could be true what they're saying. I don't know. It's because it's not the first time we've heard stuff about Diddy or all these other celebrities. Like people have been saying stuff about these things for years, but people have been dismissing these people and not saying that they're credible or they're trying to downplay what they're saying. But a lot of the stuff that they've been saying is coming true. So I don't know. Take it for what it's worth, but I don't overly dismiss Kanye. I feel like Kanye has a lot of power, and I feel like they don't like that, and I feel like they try to silence him and make him look bad and to try to discredit him. But I feel like his voice is needed in certain cases, and I feel like we shouldn't 100% just dismiss what he's saying because he has been saying that Diddy is a Fed. He has been saying that. He even said that in the Drink Chaps, and he was talking shit about Diddy and Meek Mill in that Drink Champs video that came out last year. Remember?
Yeah.
And then everybody was saying, "Oh, Kanye is wilding. Kanye is crazy," and then look what happened a year later. So all I'm saying is let's see what happens, but I hope this issue is not true with the Kanye and the Dream stuff. But if it is, they definitely deserve to be, get consequences and be punished. But at the same time, the stuff that Kanye and some of these other artists that are being called crazy, I feel like we should still listen to them with an open mind and see what listen to what they're saying.
Yeah, because only time will tell. Certain things I thought were crazy and I thought were like out of whack years ago, now I see as the truth, and now I implement as part of my like everyday lifestyle. One example being when I was first introduced to veganism, like in 2003, I thought that shit was crazy. I'm like, yo, life without meat, life without McDonald's, life without pizza, that fucking sucks. And look at me 20 years later, I started to see the truth about it and the benefits from it, and I could never go back to the old way again. So yeah, only time will tell with certain things you learn and certain information that you're presented. And yes, it is good to at least listen to it before you dismiss it.
Yeah, for real. I have an open mind, man.
But let's move into some of our anniversaries for this week, as this past week marked the 36-year anniversary of EPMD's debut album, Strictly Business. And in a year, that year being 1988, of many classic hip hop albums, and in many cases, like the turning point for hip hop becoming mainstream, this album was one of them that definitely stood out. With many classic tracks such as You've Got to Chill, It's My Thing, the Strictly Business title track, and also Get Off the Bandwagon. The production on that one's really ridiculous. And believe it or not, you probably will be shocked when I tell you this album actually got 5 mics from the source.
Nah, that's what's up. Yeah, definitely EPMD is one of the best hip hop groups of all time. A lot of people they influenced a lot of groups that came out, and their back and flow rhyming style, Styles and Jada, adopted that style and their raps as well. And Eric Sermon has been one of the best hip hop producers of all time. He doesn't get enough credit for the stuff that he's produced and the people that he's worked with over the years. So, shouts out to EPMD, Eric Parrish, Eric Smith, definitely legends in the game. And yeah, man, it's good that
It's
we can
Parrish
remember this
Smith.
album.
It's Parrish
Oh,
Smith. Parrish
my
Smith.
bad, Parrish Smith and Eric Sermon. My bad. But yeah, definitely some dope artists, and they definitely get the props from most of the hip hop artists in the game that respect them and appreciate them influencing hip hop and being one of the best groups to ever to do it. So shouts out to them.
Yeah, they were one of the better duos that doesn't get enough credit, kind of like Run DMC, Outkast, Mobb Deep. I feel like they're one of those groups that don't really get the flowers that they deserve, especially for how consistent they were during this period. Yeah, they were on a good run during this time. I would say from this album up to like the album with Crossover in 92. Yeah, they had a lot of momentum,
Yeah.
bro. Yeah, and Crossover was a huge hit for them. That was probably their biggest hit period.
Yeah, they definitely had some hits. I feel like they only had what, like one or two albums like in like the later '90s. I know they had that Back in Business album with
Yeah,
the
97.
symphony and
Yeah,
the
97.
joint. Yeah, those are some. They still did their thing, man. Those songs were pretty good. That album was pretty good. The Back in Business album that they came out with, and I know Eric Sermon did his thing. Like he did that Just Like Music.
Oh, I
He
fucking love
did
that song. I
yeah,
fucking
that's a
love
dope
that
ass
song.
song. He did. There was another. I think it was a Marvin Gaye sample, or
That was the one with the
it was
Marvin Gaye
a
sample. That
no.
was the
There was
one.
another song that was similar. I think it was called Heat or something like that, or Hot.
He had that song React with Redman. I remember that was a single too.
Yeah, React. I remember that with the Def Squad. But there was another song. There was a song called Hot, and it had like a
You just
Marvin Gaye
said that.
sample. Yeah, but I wasn't 100% sure. I just confirmed it.
All right, but one thing I definitely loved about this album was the fucking album cover, with the two of them just sitting in the studio wearing the matching sweaters. Yo, this is a dope vibe, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but just one thing that just stuck out about this album was the fucking production. How they would like use multiple different samples in each song. Yeah, very few people I think were doing that at the time.
Yeah, like I said, Eric Sermon is one of the best hip hop producers of all time. People just forget like the shit that he's done, but he's definitely up there. He's definitely a lot of the up and coming producers like in the '90s and 2000s were definitely influenced by him.
Yeah, most of the rappers that were coming out at the time were like either from Brooklyn or from Queens or from the Bronx, but they were like two of the very few that were actually from somewhere else, that being Long Island. Them and Rakim.
Yeah, definitely dope, man. Definitely legends in the game, man.
Yeah, and the album like didn't really have like any commercial hits, and it like didn't really chop that high on the Billboard charts, but it still went gold despite all of that.
Yeah, sometimes it's talent. You don't need to promote it so much. It speaks for itself.
Yeah, and that was just a crazy year for hip hop with that album. Also, Great Adventures of Slick Rick, Straight Outta Compton, Long Live the Cane, Follow the Leader. Also, By All Means Necessary, what we talked about last week. Yo, the list of classics from '88 is ridiculous. That was
Yeah,
a crazy
definitely one of
year.
the golden years of the '80s in hip hop. Definitely.
Probably the golden year of hip hop in the '80s. I would say like
Yeah,
what '98 was for the '90s for hip hop, '88 was for the '80s for hip hop.
yeah, definitely. A lot of good music came out. Classic music.
Yes, and this album was one of them. But let's move on to our next anniversary. As 8 years later, we had the release of the Lost Boyz album, Legal Drug Money. King Khan, I know you're a huge fan of the Lost Boyz and a huge fan of this record, so I'm going to let you start off this conversation.
Yeah, man, this was yeah. I love this album. Like Lost Boys at this time was like one of the hottest groups, and they were definitely killing it. Mr. Cheeks was that dude.
Ooh,
Yeah, man. Yeah, like this album was just dope on so many levels. Like if you listen to like the first, I remember what the first six tracks. What other album has like the type of first like five or six tracks as good as this album? Like we had the Yearn was dope. Music Makes Me High was another dope single. The Lex Coops Beamers and the Bands was that was like one of my favorite joints. And
that
just the
shit still
video
goes hard.
and then just being from Queens and just seeing like the Queens, them right around through Queens and being at the park and stuff. I don't know, just
Oh
that video
shit.
just hit differently, and that that album just hit differently for me. Lifestyles of the Rich and Shameless, and obviously you can't forget about Renee, which is one of like the best um,
Storytelling songs probably you'll ever
storytelling
hear.
hood songs that you'll ever hear. Just a dope album, man. And Get Up was another joint that they came out with later on. Just a dope album, classic album. A lot of joints still hold up to this day. And this was the last time that we heard Freaky Ty on a entire album, which you can hear his influence on the ad libs and a lot of the songs. He definitely was all over this album. Unfortunately, he was he was taken from us too soon and only was able to contribute a little bit to the next album after this. But yeah, definitely is a classic. They're definitely one of the best hip hop groups of that time. They definitely represented for Queens, and just they made that good feel good music that a lot of people in the hood could relate to. Man, just was a dope time in hip hop, and they made some dope music at that time, man. So shouts out to the Lost Boys, Mr. Cheeks, Freaky Ties family, Spig Nice, Pretty Lou, the whole crew, man. Shouts out to them.
Yeah, the one thing I just like about the Lost Boys is just their whole vibe and their whole energy. That's one thing about music, especially, is that these days, especially, I have to really be feeling somebody's energy. And like every time I hear them spit, every time I hear the sound of their voice, it just puts me in that mood. And that's exactly the vibe I get from the Lost Boys, especially Mr. Cheeks. Just so nasty, so fucking compelling. Like you just want to listen to everything the dude has to say.
The catchiness, like just the work,
Fuck,
the
man.
vibe, like his dance moves, like he had those little dance moves that he would do. Like he was as popular as like I would say. Remember how when Method Man was popular as being the lead man for like Wu Tang? I felt
Yeah.
like Mr. Cheeks was as popular in a similar way at the height of the Lost Boys. Like I feel like everybody, like Mr. Cheeks was a household name at that time, man.
Yeah, he had a solo run too a couple years later with like Lights Camera Action and the Crush on You track. Yeah, he had a
Yeah, that
decent
was
run
after
those years
Freaky
too.
Tide passed away, and they actually even dropped like the Love, Peace, and Nappiness album, and then there was like a LB Fam for Life album, and then that's when he went solo after that, like in the early 2000s.
Yeah, but none of those albums could definitely touch this one. Yeah, and just another classic from the year 1996. We talk about that year also a lot on this show, and this is definitely another album from that year that fucking stands out. And you were not lying. Just the first six tracks alone, hell, even the intro along with that, you're like, yo, I
Yeah,
don't ever want to stop listening to this shit.
just a dope album, man.
Yeah, and it's funny on the intro they use a sample for Summertime Madness, that Cool and the Gang song I told you about. If you listen to it
Hmm.
again, you'll recognize what I'm talking about. But yeah, they use that sample for it. Yeah, just a fun vibe, representing Queens proudly. And yeah, just not enough good things I could say about the whole crew and this album especially. It's one of the reasons why I love hip hop and one of the reasons why I love just doing this podcast and talking to you guys about it.
Yeah, just shining light on like albums that were slept on or artists that they didn't get the shine or recognition that they should have, because they definitely impacted the game. And yeah, man, their energy was definitely unmatched, and they were one of the best groups of that time. And they weren't really talking about killing people and doing this and that. They were talking about different subjects, and they were like one of the first hip hop acts to have like a love song or like a storytelling song about a girl that they were dealing with. So you didn't really hear a lot of that, especially at that time. So it was dope for them to be able to do both.
I would say, in a way, Renee is the East Coast version of Brenda's Got a Baby.
Yeah, I could say that. Yeah, get that vibe.
Yeah, definitely. It's not as, I wouldn't say it's as dark as Brenda's Got a Baby, but in that sense of there being a storytelling song about a girl that died and who was troubled and all that, that's kind of similarity I get from it.
Yeah, I was gonna say the highs on this album are like there's not many albums that can match like those songs make me high. Lex Who's Beamers in the Benz, Renee and Lifestyle of the Rich and Shameless. Like those four tracks alone, man, like will make any album.
1, 2, 3 was also dope.
Yeah, that was a Channel Zero. The Yearn was one of my favorites. Get Up, Legal Drug Money. Those all this whole album, man.
Yeah, great vibe, great times in hip hop, and definitely a group that deserves its flowers. So shout out to the Lost Boys and rest in peace to Freaky Tah.
Yes, R.I.P.
And let's get into our next anniversary, as this past week marked the 10-year anniversary of the debut of the 50 Cent produced show, Power. I didn't watch the first season of this show. I had missed it. But then as the second season started, you were the one who got me into this show. You were the one who like first introduced me to it. And while I wasn't really crazy about the first season per se, by the second season on, I was fucking hooked. And honestly, this was one of my favorite shows for a couple years. It was like definitely in my top three. I was hooked every week on every episode. And when the season finale would come, I would be fucking crushed that I would have to wait a whole fucking year to see what would happen next. But I would say
Yeah.
definitely a very dope, consistent show. I know it wasn't everybody's cup of tea, but damn it, I fucking loved it. And it definitely satisfied me as a viewer. And it's crazy to think that it's been 10 years since that show fucking debuted. And fast forward to a decade later, there's like multiple different spin-offs. And even the Power Book 2, I think the last season just started this weekend.
Yeah, it did. I didn't get a chance to check it out, but I'm supposed to check it out today. But yeah, man, I can't believe it's been 10 years since Power started. Shouts out to 50, Courtney Kemp, and the rest of the crew that helped put this series together. I didn't think that, I thought it was just a series that was going to be on for, a little while and then disappear like a lot of other shows. But once I started watching it, I didn't watch it right away. I started like maybe like in the middle of season one or towards the end. Then I went back and watched all of it, but I was just hooked, man. It kind of reminded me of like how the Sopranos were, like that crime and the mafia and drugs and all that craziness that goes on with those type of movies and whatnot. So it kind of
And
reminded
the
me of
son,
that.
and also the son turning into a douchebag as the show progresses.
Yeah, the son. Yeah, just the characters. Ghost being like one of the best characters, and then Tommy and Ghost going back and forth is just dope to see them and just to watch the show evolve and the shit the antics that they get into. So and like you said, man, it's dope to see how the show became so popular that I was able to create like 3 or 4 spin-offs just off of that one show, and then that the second show is still going and it's about to end with this last season now. So shouts out to everybody involved, man. Definitely a good run, and I remember everybody loved the theme song when you heard that beat drops and then you hear Joel saying it's a big rich town, and then the song starts, man. Everybody loved the intro. I don't know, man. Just the characters, just the vibe of the show. Just a dope show, and it had a huge impact on hip hop, and even some hip hop stars started appearing in some of the episodes. Like Kendrick Lamar was in the episode. Freddie Gibbs, I remember, was in one. So a lot of hip hop artists. Mary J. Blige.
Wasn't Pusha T in one of the episodes?
I don't remember. I
I might be
know
thinking about
definitely
another
Kendrick
show.
Lamar. Yeah, I know Kendrick Lamar was definitely in it. Freddie Gibbs was in it, and a couple other people have been in. Mary J. Blige, obviously, she's on like the newer show. She's one of
Lala
the main
Anthony
characters.
was
Method Man, La
Lala
La.
Anthony and
So a lot of characters that are music, people in the music industry that became cameos in the show. So
or main characters. Yeah, because Natalie Naughton was in
oh
3LW,
yeah,
and then after she got kicked out and whatnot, she had those rough few years. But yo, she definitely bounced back in a major way, especially with this show.
no, she definitely did a thing, man. She was a very important character, especially in the first Power. And man, yeah, it was just dope, man. Everybody did their thing, and 50 Cent, appearing in some of the episodes as Kanan. So yeah, it was just a dope show, man, and it impacted a lot. And I remember everybody looking forward to watching the shows, especially when they came out. I remember like when it would drop like Friday night at midnight, I would rush to go to watch it before anybody can spoil it and tell me what happened. So definitely one of the best shows that's come out in the last 20 years for our culture.
I gotta ask you, what was the most shocking death that you saw on that show? Out of everybody who got killed on the show in one way or another, which one shocked you the most?
I would say the one that hit me the most. I would probably say the when Raina died, the sister. I would say
Oh
that's
yeah,
probably
that
up
was
there.
fucked up.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
that
messed
was
up. I would
fucked
say
up.
that was messed up, and
That
I
was
feel like the
bad.
ghost, it was messed up, but you kind of like anticipated like eventually he's gonna have to die or something's gonna happen in the show. So I wasn't really like shocked. But when the rain, that's when that was like one of the like the jaw dropping moment. Like, damn, son.
I feel like that moment was the beginning of the Tariq character becoming
Yeah,
just as
what he
bad as
was.
Ghost. Coming into like the spinoff now. Yeah, that was the beginning of all of that.
Yeah, but definitely, man, it's a great show.
Also, other killings that were like really hard to watch was when Lala dies in the last season
Oh
when
yeah,
she gets her brains blown out. Yo, that shit was gruesome, man.
yeah, it was
Fucking.
wild.
And that one episode when Ghost kills Charlie Murphy with like a weight plate. Like those few episodes when he's in
Oh yeah,
prison, he like just takes his big ass like 45-pound weight plate and just like smashes his fucking face with it multiple
oh yeah,
times. Ooh,
that was
ooh.
rough. That was rough.
And how can we forget Angela? Oh my god. It was
Man,
always hard for me to pick between Angela and Tasha, which one I liked more.
yeah, Angela was definitely did her thing, man. I remember the funniest character, man, was Lobos. I don't know if you remember him from like the first season, but he was like the first, like kind of like the first boss that they were trying to get rid of. But he was always cracking jokes, and I think he was gay too, and he was like doing funny a lot of funny shit and saying a lot of funny sayings. But that was like one of the best characters on the show. He was like there for the first couple seasons.
I remember Kanan's son from the first two seasons, and I remember like him and Tasha kind of had a thing going on at one point, and then 50
Yeah,
killed him at the end of the second season. I'm like, damn, bro, he killed his own fucking son. No fucking
yeah,
shame.
it was wild.
Also, Turtle from Entourage was on the show too. He was his lawyer.
Oh yeah, he was on there. Method Man.
He
There's
also got killed.
a lot of dope cameos on that show, and yeah, man, it was definitely a place for everybody to tune in every week to watch the episode to see what happened next or see who got killed off next. So, and then one other killing that really messed me up was when they got Julio. I don't know, remember Julio, but he was like Tommy's right hand man. Like in the earlier seasons, he was like bald headed, and then he got killed in the warehouse by those like those Spanish gang members. I don't know if you remember.
Not by heart.
Yeah, you probably well, it was like maybe season 2 or 3, but yeah, that one kind of messed me up because it was kind of came out of nowhere, and I wasn't expecting him to die like that. So, but yeah, man, we're definitely a dope show, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happened with this last season on Book Two Ghost.
I actually got to start watching book two. I never watched one episode.
You sleeping? I was like that too. I didn't start until I actually started watching it last year. I missed like the first two seasons because I was like after the first one was like whatever, it's not the same. But then I started watching it. I was like, oh, it's kind of like a continuation of the first Power. It's like like the story continues, but it's more about Tyreek
Yeah,
instead of Ghost. But it's dope though.
it's crazy how far the dude who played Tariq has come since then. Yeah, from like being the son of the show initially to now having his own fucking show where he's like the leader of all of it. Yo, it's crazy how far that character progressed.
Yeah, it's definitely dope to see him. We've kind of pretty much watched him grow up over the last 10 years on screen, and I feel like now is the right time to end it. I feel like you want to end it before people are saying, all right, it's time to end it. You want to end it when kind of like that sweet spot. So I feel like this is the right time. People are not calling for it to finish, but I think you want to end it before it gets to that point where people are kind of over it. And I feel like, they've done the show justice. There's still the Kanan, like, which is the Kanan show, which is like the prequel, Raising Kanan. And then they also have the Force series with Tommy, when Tommy's, doing kind of like the same thing he was doing, but he's in Chicago instead of New York. So those two spin-offs are still pretty dope, but I feel like to end like the ghost and the power story, I feel like it's the right time to do it.
Yeah, definitely. It's been 10 years. They've probably gotten as much from it as they can. They've definitely done well with it. It's very successful. It pretty much puts stars on the map when it comes to shows. I feel like what The
Yeah,
Sopranos and Sex and the City did for HBO when it comes to series, that's what Power did for stars.
yeah, definitely held them up for over the last few years.
Oh hell yeah! And it pretty much established 50 as an executive producer. Like pretty much from this show, from the success of this show, it was official that he never had to rap again
Yeah,
if he
for
doesn't want
real. And
to.
now he's opened up the G Unit Studios in in Louisiana. So yeah, definitely off of this show, and then all the other stuff that is led into. So shouts out to 50 for putting this together.
Yeah, and I'm just glad that even though they tried to switch the theme song briefly to Trey's songs, they went right back to the original song like after 2 weeks when they saw that nobody liked it.
Yeah, yeah, because I don't know, man, just that theme song is a classic, man. You can't mess with it. So they had to do what they had to do. But I'm glad they listened to the fans.
Yeah, and shout out to Joe. I feel like that song kind of like revamped Joe's career a little bit in a way too. And in fact, I think in many ways probably people know that song the most from Joe than any other one.
It's just crazy because he has a lot of hits, and you definitely need to go
Yeah,
back and
exactly.
check out some of his songs because he has some good songs, good albums.
All the things your man won't do, love scene. Also, I want to know what if a woman. Yeah, endless list.
Yeah, definitely a dope artist.
Yes, but dope show, dope cast. Not enough good things I could say about it, and definitely a show that's a success considering that the careers that it sparked off, and also the amount of spin-offs we've had from it since. Yeah, definitely a show that did work.
Yes, sir.
All right, so King Kong, before we get out of here, let our listeners know how they can listen to past episodes of the podcast and also how they can follow us on social motherfucking media.
Yeah, if you want to check out previous episodes and learn more about the show, you could visit shiftingtheculturepodcast.com. And if you want to follow us on social media on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, just search Shifting the Culture Podcast.
Yeah, holler at us. Let us know what you think. Also, feel free to debate with us in a healthy manner about any of our points that we bring up. We'd love to chop it up with you and discuss it with you in any way. Until next time, for King Khan, this is Conscious Kurt with another edition of the Shifting the Culture podcast. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And remember, whether you are an old school head or a new school head, always respect the motherfucking culture. Have a good one, guys.
Peace.